Hi everybody, I'm Brooke.
Hi, I'm Cheryl.
And we're the Secret Garden Girls.
Yay!
Okay folks, here we are, just as promised. Here is Michael, and he is Inch by Inch worm products. And we are super excited to see what he has going on here. First, why don't you answer us, so how long have you been doing this?
5.5 years or so.
And what got you started?
My wife saw a presentation by a worm producer back from North Carolina. Not there, but in California. And she was so impressed by what worms can do that she came home and said, we got to see what these people are up to. So we went and saw their operation for a couple of days, and then they kind of sponsored us to get started.
I see.
Yeah, I can show you piecemeal.
Okay, great.
How'd you get in there? Anyway, these are, you can see this one doesn't look like anything. This one looks like worms. But one of the things we do is normally we sell worms, and for us to sell them, I have to sort of separate them and sift them out and then weigh them. So the way to do that is the worms are in bedding. They have to live in some damp environment.
I see.
So we put the bedding out, put it under a bright light, and then slowly just shave away. Slowly just brush away the loose material from the top. And little by little you uncover.
Wow.
You can start seeing them start to pop in.
Well, looky there.
And then underneath.
Oh my goodness sakes.
Wow.
Okay, so I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
People are going to wonder, since we are in southern Arizona and
Yes.
it does get hot here, how do you take care of your worms in the garden if it gets too hot, especially in, say, like beds and stuff, raised beds?
Yeah, it's not easy. If you have a deep enough, if it's deep enough, the environment around them is deep enough, they can usually tunnel away from the heat. I would, if it were me, if it's planted, put some heavy duty shade cloth over the top. And then if it's not planted or if it's just seedlings, put some cloth over the top and keep it damp.
I see.
It is possible because there's a place in Phoenix that actually grows worms under a cover, but outdoors with no walls.
Huh.
So it's possible, but you
So
really have to.
Is there a temperature that
Yeah.
you want to, let's say, don't let the soil get hotter than
Yeah, technically about 85 degrees.
85 degrees, and then the worms start to become unhappy?
They start becoming those Cheetos, little Cheetos,
Oh, okay. We don't want that.
and lower than freezing.
Right, okay, and then,
And it's
right.
for a period of time. So I have found worms in 3 or 4 inches of stuff in another place where I was working one day that had been in the heat of the summer for 2 or 3 days, over 100 degrees, and they were still alive.
Isn't that something?
But I don't recommend that as a normal thing to do.
Right, as a general rule. So,
Shade is a big deal. I don't know if you're in a shady environment
right,
here, that makes all the difference.
that does make all the difference. And so, for instance, I have like 45-gallon grow bags. Is that going to be enough, or is that going to
Probably.
be? Really? Great. Then we'll bring some wormies home.
Yeah,
Excellent.
they're shaped kind of like that,
Yeah,
like these
they're the
totes.
round.
That's 30, so it'd be bigger than that.
Yeah, it is bigger than that.
Yeah,
It's
that's
45 gallons. Oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
And I can just put them right in directly with my soil and my plants, and they'll be happy.
Yes.
And then-
They eat the bacteria from decomposing matter.
Right.
So leaves, food, any compost, anything that will decompose that's been live biological
So
matter.
if I took kitchen scraps and I
Yeah.
would put them in and just bury it directly in, and then they would munch on that. Okay, good to know. That's how you would care for them.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Minus a few things. So no citrus.
Okay.
Orange seems to be. My brother uses orange peels they love it. So
Okay. Just not a ton.
no dairy, no meat, no
Right,
oily
right.
stuff.
Right.
Obviously, no
Regular
oils.
compost stuff.
But regular compost minus citrus and hot spicy stuff.
Oh,
They
good
don't
to
like,
know.
but it won't kill them. But the citrus, the acidic stuff will change the soil balance, and that's not so great.
Oh, okay.
So, but any green scraps, they like lettuce, they like vegetables. I have sweet potatoes and stuff that I grind up and throw in there, and they
Oh.
seem to eat that.
Fantastic.
Some people feed bread to worms. I haven't had good luck with that,
Okay.
but I know a person who feeds corn tortillas, and I feed cornmeal, and corn tortillas they will eat.
Oh,
So some kinds
Fascinating.
of grains they will, but that's the best way to go about that is to experiment. So if you have worms in a confined area, which is advisable, and you feed something and you feed other stuff around it, and they'll ignore the things they don't like, just like children do. They'll push it to the side of the plate and say, "I'm not eating that."
Interesting.
So you can experiment with food and figure out what
Okay.
they like just by. I've done that a few times.
Okay. So explain to everybody the benefits of this.
Worm castings have the three elements of fertilizer called NPK, which is nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. But they don't have huge amounts of nitrogen, which some fertilizers do. It's a balanced, and because they don't have a ton of nitrogen, they're no risk of burning plants. They also have a whole other bunch of minerals and micronutrients. You can get a readout, and there's a bunch of them.
Right.
But there's more,
Okay.
which is important. Worms secrete, they leave something called chitinase, which is kind of a hormone in the soil, and also they treat the plant roots so that the roots are accessible to nutrients.
I see.
So they're kind of a catalyst for nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And they also leave the soil better than they found it. People know that worms do that, but also the castings do that too.
Mm-hmm.
So and they also provide some protection against pests, even the plants themselves and also the roots.
Mm-hmm. And so who are you servicing out here? Are you servicing big farms, little farms, or little backyard gardens? How's that work?
I have a little bit of everything from a young man just came and bought 5 pounds from high school for 5 pounds a couple of hours ago.
Oh, I see.
I have a man who has bought several thousand pounds for his backyard.
Wow.
I mean, like 4,000 or 5,000 pounds
Yeah.
over the last year.
So our soil here is difficult.
Yes.
Right. So why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Soil, if you talk to people back east, people differentiate. We have dirt out here.
Yeah.
It's decomposed minerals that have no life in them. Caliche is one part of it.
Caliche, yes.
But even above that, there's softer dirt, but it doesn't
Right.
have any nutrition.
Right.
It's compacted and it doesn't have any life in it, and it doesn't stay damp. It doesn't hold water.
Mm-hmm.
So soil generally is what people back east call what they have, which is decomposing matter, some dirt, but it's loamy and softer and alive.
Right.
So you can find worms naturally in that. You can also find them here sometimes under manure piles,
Mm-hmm.
but not too many people. That's what soil really should be.
Okay.
So that's why raised beds are good. Most people build their own soil out
Right.
of compost.
That's
and
what we teach people how to do.
Yeah.
And that's why you're so important because amending your soil and keeping your soil healthy
Yep.
is just so critical, especially in this region. Okay.
And anything you can add that keeps it from compacting, keeps it from packing back down, that retains moisture.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
So how much would somebody need for, say, if they had just a typical backyard, little garden?
You can go about it a couple different ways, but
Okay.
if you are if you're building soil to start a plot, let's say, or raised beds, I usually recommend people build about 6 inches of enhanced soil on top. You can start with a layer, and there's all ways of starting it, but you can put wire mesh down at the bottom if it's an open bottom to keep animals out. Then you can put rocks or gravel on top of that for drainage. Then you can
Right.
put whatever on top of that, maybe fill dirt that you've dug out. But when you get to about 6 inches, then start building a good soil base, I would say.
Okay.
And then 20% of whatever that is, ideally is castings. If you're going to build soil with castings, then
Right. 20% of it. Okay.
I sell some stuff that has 10%
Okay.
castings, but the general rule of thumb that I've heard is 20%.
Okay. Fascinating.
But you can also, it's a lot of castings and it's kind of expensive, and some people don't mind spending that money. But the other way you can do it is put your compost in, put pour in, put minerals in, whatever else additives that add to that soil to enhance it, they're much less expensive. And good compost, not, you gotta be careful around here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Then plant with castings in the plantings. So you dig a little hole for something and you put a couple tablespoons of castings in, that might be enough.
Okay.
And it stretches farther that way. So there's 2 ways to do about it.
Fantastic. Very interesting. We there's one of the videos that I did early on when I started this. We built worm towers.
Yes, exactly.
And they're fantastic.
These are going
into the ground.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
And it really did work great. So I'm going to be encouraging that as well.
Yeah.
Well, this is fantastic. So now, if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Okay. Well, we have a website which is called inchbyinchaz@gmail.com.
Okay.
But it's all of our contact information is on that site, and all of our information about our products
Yes.
and ways to reach me. I have a phone that I answer everything with, so I
Okay.
can give you
So
the
that's
number.
the best way to go, is to find you through your website.
So,
Probably the
and
website.
Gmail is your email address, but
Did I just say @Gmail?
yeah, your website is
Inchbyinchaz.com, sorry.
okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's the
And I'll
website.
put everything, folks, in the description and below. So,
Okay.
So
and a
how do
link.
we go from worms to worm casings?
Great
Okay.
question.
Do you
Yeah.
want to see?
Yes.
So these are just trays, and I start with some kind of bedding. So it could be some cocoa core, which is fluffy, soft,
Yeah.
shredded,
great,
you know
great
about.
product. Yeah.
Some horse manure, maybe some shredded paper or shredded cardboard, and put some worms in it as a starter. And then slowly, as you start feeding them, they will eat their way so that these start off down here, and then they start to get near the top. Here's some worms at the top right
Yeah,
here.
get a good shot of that.
Oh, look at that.
So this was lumpy, had lumps of food in it a couple days ago. And they'll eat through that and compost it, basically the way worms compost, which is they poop it.
Right.
And you're left with castings at the end. And then you can see there's also a lot more in there. There's leaves and there's cardboard and stuff. So once this is done, here, follow me. You picked a good day.
Great. Okay.
This is called low tech.
Yeah, whatever works,
I
right?
took one of those trays because I could use some more castings, and I just basically spread on the floor so that it will partially dry out. You can't sift. These are too wet. This is pretty damp, and it won't sift the castings until it dries out. So I'm going to leave this here, maybe put a fan on it overnight.
I see.
And then tomorrow I will run it through. This is a very fine screen. It's a shaker screen,
Oh.
sifter. And you pour stuff on top and it shakes back and forth, and it will sift all the castings. And when you get done, that pile out there will look like this.
I see.
Beautiful.
Look at that. Just gorgeous.
So worm casings or castings is worm poop.
Worm
Right.
poop, that's all it
Right,
is.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And I have another coarser product that comes out of that that I call Soil Builder. It's actually very good. It has castings, but it's not as, pretty as that one. So we sell it, and we sell it for a lower price. But it's a good way to build soil more economically. It's like half the price of this.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, I think that about covers us. Well, we want to thank you very much,
Thank you.
Michael, for allowing us to come in and spread the good word about what you're doing
Oh,
here.
my gosh,
Send
I'm
people in droves, hopefully.
No, I
And,
appreciate your
Yeah.
interest and your willingness to do this
Oh,
very much.
yes.
Thank you.
When Cheryl found you, I was really super excited that we could come in here and talk to you about this.
Thank you
And
very much.
Yeah, and I think people are starting their home gardens, backyard gardens. They want to be able to grow their own foods. So your product is beneficial in so many ways to get a garden started and to maintain.